In today's video, I'm going to be comparing the Galaxy A17 5G versus the Galaxy A15 5G. Stay tuned. Alright everyone, hopefully you guys are having a good day. Hopefully everyone is safe out there. We have the Galaxy A17 on the left side and the Galaxy A15 on the right side. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the changes going from the Galaxy A15 to the Galaxy A17 and exposing all of the new improvements that you will be seeing if you are wanting to upgrade to the Galaxy A17. First and foremost, the release dates of these devices. The Galaxy A17 on the left was released August 14th, 2025, so very recently, a few months ago. And the Galaxy A15 5G was released December 11th, 2023. So quite a difference in age right here. Almost 2 years at this point. The Galaxy A17 5G has an IP54 dust protected and water resistant to water splashes, not submersion or anything like that. As far as the Galaxy A15 5G, haven't really seen any certifications on this. I don't believe it has any certifications. If it does, let me know in the comment section down below. And getting into the device displays right here. So obviously there's a size difference between these phones. On the Galaxy A17, we're going to have a 6.7-inch display, and on the Galaxy A15, we're going to have a 6.5-inch display. Now, both devices are going to have a Super AMOLED display, surprisingly, and both devices are going to have a 90 Hz refresh rate. Our screen-to-body ratio is, however, going to be better on the Galaxy A17 with a screen-to-body ratio of 86% compared to 84% we saw on the Galaxy A15. Both of these resolutions are going to be 1080 by 2340, and the PPI is actually going to be a little bit better, surprisingly, on the Galaxy A15 at 396 PPI compared to the Galaxy A17's 385 PPI. And also on the Galaxy A17, we get quite a decent protection. We get Corning Gorilla Glass Victus, which is level 5 on Mohs hardness scale right there. The Galaxy A15, we don't really have anything on here. I believe we have like Glastic or something like that. Now, as far as the platform on these devices, the Galaxy A17 has Android 15 with up to 6 major operating system updates. We also have one UI 7.0 out of the box, obviously upgradable to 8.0. We have the Exynos 1330, and for the GPU, we have the Mali G68. Going over to the Galaxy A15 5G, for our platform, we have Android 14 out of the box. Obviously, this is upgradable to Android 15 UI 7.0 right now. So if you guys have this device, make sure you guys are upgrading it. However, we only had 4 major OS updates for the security and the major OS update policy for this device. Again, one UI 7.0. We do have the MediaTek Dimensity 6100 Plus inside of here. So instead of that 5nm processor that we get inside of the Galaxy A17, we get a 6nm processor inside of here. And we're going to talk about the differences in a second. We also have a Mali G57 for the GPU inside of here. Now, as far as the real world use, the Galaxy A15 has a lot more stutters. It has a lot more glitches. And it just has a lot more of a shoddier experience when it comes to going through the UI, loading up applications, loading up video games, going through articles, clicking on links and stuff like that. The Galaxy A17 has seen a very big improvement and has a lot less glitches and hiccups than the Galaxy A15. I can tell you guys that for sure, especially for the people out there who've had the Galaxy A15 for a long time. You guys notice that this is kind of a glitch machine at times. Sometimes stuff does not work correctly. Applications will randomly close. Applications will open a lot slower. And the Galaxy A17 right here with the Exynos 1330, there has been a solid improvement in the budget phone arena. So I'm really liking the processing power that we got on the Galaxy A17. Both devices also have microSD card slot expansion. So if you guys want to expand your storage, you guys can do it to both these devices. However, when it comes to storage, the Galaxy A15 did have a base storage of 64 gigs. Again, you can go from 64 to 128 to 256, but the base on the A15 was 64 gigs. On the Galaxy A17, the base storage was actually 128 gigabytes of internal storage. However, both devices have a base RAM of 4 gigabytes of RAM, so no changes in that arena. Now, when it comes to the cameras on these devices, this is going to be probably the biggest difference. First and foremost, the Galaxy A17 is going to have a 50 megapixel wide angle camera. We're going to have OIS inside this camera as well. We're going to have a secondary 5 megapixel ultra wide camera, and we are going to have a third 2 megapixel macro, capable of recording up to 1080p at 30 frames per second. When it comes to the Galaxy A15, we have essentially the same specifications when it comes to the megapixels. We have a 50 megapixel wide angle camera, autofocus, no OIS. We have a 5 megapixel ultra wide, and of course we have a 2 megapixel macro. But as far as the actual sensors in these cameras, we do have some differences. For the Galaxy A17 5G, we have the Samsung ISOCELL JN1 sensor, and for the Galaxy A15 5G, we're actually using the Hynix High. So as far as the differences, the JN1 sensor has more published detail around features, binning, autofocus enhancements, and video enhancements, which gives it a clear design for balanced performance across lighting conditions. So this is going to be a lot better in any sort of lighting condition compared to the Galaxy A15 5G. And the JN1 also seems to be a lot more optimized, and Samsung's getting better at its juddering effect, especially seeing this on the Galaxy A17. So we have seen some decent improvements from the Galaxy A15 to the Galaxy A17. So overall, I would say you're getting a lot more natural colors when it comes to the Galaxy A17 compared to the A15. I thought the A15 did well, and it was one of the first devices in the A10 series to actually do photography and videography actually quite well. But the Galaxy A17 is definitely going to beat it out with that JN1 sensor. And of course, an obvious big difference right here is a design change. I think the Galaxy A17 5G looks a lot better than the Galaxy A15. I did like the A15 when it came out, but it just looks like every other phone, and the A17 looks much more modern, in my honest opinion. So I would have to say the design language and all of that go to the Galaxy A17, both made out of plastic and glass, so it's not the craziest premium materials out there. But the Galaxy A17 does feel a little bit more premium than the older Galaxy A15. As far as our sound on these devices, both have loudspeakers and both are pretty much matched, honestly. Both are very, very loud mono speakers on this device. However, the big thing that the Galaxy A15 has over the 17 is a headphone jack. Of course, this is going to be a subjective thing because a lot of people exclusively use wireless earbuds, so it depends. Are you using wired earbuds or are you using wireless earbuds? That's going to be a big defining factor for you. Also, both have side-mounted fingerprint sensors, which I think the Galaxy A17's works just a little bit better than the Galaxy A15. Both have a 5,000 milliamp battery. Both have 25-watt wired fast charging. And that's essentially all we get in these phones. Now, which device is better? What are the biggest improvements in these devices? I have to say that you get a lot more natural colors and a lot more better photos and videos across all lighting conditions. So the Galaxy A17 is going to have a decent improvement right there. Also, I think the phone looks a lot better as well. It doesn't look like a super old phone anymore. And the biggest enhancement or the biggest difference from the Galaxy A15 to the Galaxy A17 is this has so many less glitches than the Galaxy A15. I think that was my biggest gripe about the Galaxy A15 is there were so many glitches and hiccups. And again, it's a $200 phone. It's not going to be like a $400, $500, $600, $700, $800 phone out there. These are phones that people are getting at Metro by T-Mobile, Cricket Wireless, or they're just buying unlocked because they don't really need the best phone in the world. But the Galaxy A17 at the end of the day has had some decent improvements, honestly. Not as many as I wanted it to have, but hopefully we see those bigger improvements in the Galaxy A18. And of course, they leave that Infinity U notch behind as well.